Good evening, Council and members of the public. Welcome to the special council meeting of December 15th, 2025. Before we begin, I want to welcome everybody to this meeting, as well as to say to those people that are celebrating Hanukkah, welcome to day 2, Hanukkah Sameimish, to all of you, and happy Festival of Lights. So Council, before you, we have the agenda. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as is? Moved by Council Donaldson, second by Council Shukin. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we have time for public participation. 4 minutes per person, should anybody wish to speak at the microphone. Seeing that nobody wants to speak this evening, we'll move along to number 4, which is the receipt of the minutes. We have December 8th, 2025, Committee of the Whole minutes on page 5.
So I'll move receipt of the minutes.
Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Shukin. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then we have business arising. First of all, from the Committee of the Whole recommendations from December 8th, 2025 on page 11. Councillor Shukin.
Thank you, Mayor Little. Without much ado, I would move that Council direct staff to pursue the following: a title review for the proposed park dedication bylaw related to the bufferland, a draft Section 219 covenant for long-term protection of the bufferlands, a report to Council with draft bylaws and covenant text, and a review of next steps on all other additional planning recommendations. And of course, this all relates to the bufferland.
Thank you.
So moved. Thank you.
It's moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Comments? Okay. I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. That's unanimous. And then secondly?
Thank you, Mayor Little. In regards to the Metchosin Trail Steward Program, thank you for the discussion at our last meeting. And I would move that Council direct staff to firm up the requirements for a Trail Stewards Program, with the program commencing as soon as possible in 2026. So moved.
Okay. Moved by Council Shukin, second by Council Donaldson. Comment? No? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then we'll return or move to reports for action. First of all, we have the Metchosin Producers Association License of Occupation Renewal. Will staff be introducing this? Deputy Corporate Officer Ms. Hanson, go ahead.
Good evening. The Metchosin Producers Association license to occupy is expiring at the end of this year, and the new proposed license is for a 2-year term ending December 31, 2027, and we're just proposing 2 years this time, as the general local election will take place in October 2026, and that'll give the newly elected council 1 year into their term before considering renewal.
Okay, thank you. Anybody wish to speak? Councillor Gray.
I'm happy to move the motion that Council approve the license of occupation with the Metchosin Producers Association for a 2-year term ending December 31, 2027, and authorize the Mayor and CAO to execute the license on behalf of the district, subject to publication of notice in accordance with the community charter.
Okay, this is moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Any comments? No? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
I'll just say how much I appreciate the farmers market and the hard work of the volunteers there.
Okay, and the second part of that motion for consideration, that request, we don't need to request any further information. Okay, great, thank you. Moving along to the second report, which is the Metchosin Cricket Club Society License of Occupation Renewal.
And this license of occupation is also coming due at the end of December of this year. And we're proposing that the license be for a 2-year term ending December 31, 2027. due to the upcoming general local election.
Thank you. Councillor Schumann, then Councillor Donaldson.
Thank you, Mayor Little. I would make a motion to support this, that council approve the license of occupation with the Metchosin Cricket Club Society for a 2-year term ending December 31st, 2027, and authorize mayor and CAO to execute the license on behalf of the district, subject to publication of the notice in accordance with the community charter. So moved.
Okay, this is moved by Councillor Schumann, second by Councillor Donaldson. Comments? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Little. One of the things that I did note in the lease agreement is the ability of the district to request the use of the field. We have to give substantial notice for that. I think it's 14 days. But we did that this year for Metchosin Day, and it worked very well. We just have to keep an eye open in terms of the needs of the district with the field. Thanks to the Cricket Club folks for working with us on this. March ahead and just be cognizant of what the needs are outside of cricket. So,
Okay.
and some might say, what needs outside of cricket? But there are some.
Councillor Donaldson.
Yeah, no, I understand what Councillor Schumann is saying there. I believe that's written into a number of the leases for that reason. And interesting to note, I have asked the community garden people to bring their lease up at their next membership meeting, so everybody understands how the lease actually works and it affects the activities they do there, being that they're a new group, but they have a lot of great ideas, each one of them, and so understanding who the property belongs to and how it needs to be stewarded and taken care of with responsibility to the district and all people in Metchosin. So thanks for bringing that forward.
Yep. Anybody else? No? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Great. Let's move along to the third one. This is the Metchosin Volunteer Firefighter Society Occupancy Agreement Renewal. Ms. Hanson.
This agreement as well is coming due at the end of December, and the agreement is being proposed for a 2-year term ending December 31 due to the upcoming election. And this one we are not advertising for. It's more of an exclusive agreement with the Firefighter Society, just because they're considered, I believe, like an arm to the municipality. So this one is more exclusive. It's not on public grounds.
Okay. Go ahead.
Mayor Little, I would move that council approve the renewal of the occupancy agreement with Metchosin Volunteer Firefighter Society for a 2-year term and authorize the mayor and CAO to execute the agreement on behalf of the district. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Schumann, second by Councillor Donaldson. Comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions about this. I think we talked about this before, but I don't know if we ever heard the answer. I mean, it's great that the firefighters have this space, within the fire hall for their use. I wasn't sure, though, on a couple of points. Is this an agreement with our staff or is it an agreement with our volunteers? I didn't know that. Like, who's a member of the Volunteers Firefighter Society? That was one question. The other was there's talk about the use of alcohol, and I don't know if we've completed our alcohol policy. But those are the two questions I had. Alcohol policy for the district, that is.
Okay. I'll ask perhaps the fire chief if you could answer the questions.
Sure, thank you through the chair. All members of the fire department, both volunteer and the staff, in their job description is requested to be part of the Metchosin Firefighters Society. So everybody that is there is a member of the society.
Okay.
So both paid staff and volunteers.
Okay. And then the alcohol policy? Go ahead, CEO Payette.
Sorry. The alcohol policy is in draft form. We just have not been able to bring it forward for council consideration.
So I suppose it's a leftover question from last year about just legally, what's the arrangement with our staff? If they're staff, they're there as staff people, but then this is kind of a different kind of an agreement with staff to occupy one of our buildings. So I think that I'm fine with approving this tonight, but I think it would be worth getting the question answered so the next time that the renewal comes up, we know just sort of what legal situation we're in.
So I just need a little bit of clarification, what kind of legal situation where we're granting a society use of a space, what kind of a legal clarification are you after?
Well, I'm not clear that, or I've not seen before a situation where we're entering into a occupancy agreement with staff. So the staff presumably can be in the building regardless because they work here. And I'm not sure what, I just like to get clarity that we're not putting anybody in an awkward position or a liability position by reaching an agreement like this. I'm wondering if this is left over from, you know, a long time back. It's probably been in play for a very long time. And now we have three staff and one contract staff, and then we've got the volunteer groups. And just to be clear about compensation arrangements and responsibilities in the job as compared to what's in this document. For example, are we asking staff to take responsibility for liquor licenses and things like that? And do we have the proper liability set up for the staff members? Or is that being done by somebody else? It's that kind of thing, just keeping everybody out of the glue so nobody's taking on a liability that they wouldn't want to have.
And I think this agreement is with the society, not with any individual person or individuals. It's the society as a whole. I see shaking heads. Yes, so that is it. Regarding the alcohol policy, we'll have more information regarding the district-wide, or sorry, district-owned properties policy in the new year.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, if I could get somebody to move. Did you already move this? Yes, you did. Sorry. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you for that. And then we're going to move on to page 47. We have the Public Works Policy W100.65, snow removal and ice control. CAO Payette.
Okay, I don't have it in front of me, but I know what we're talking about. And council had asked for some additional language in the policy, so we added a description of what the activity was, and we added a paragraph in for communication as requested. And I believe that satisfies your needs, and I recommend that it's ready to go.
Okay. Councillor Gray.
I just had a question about it, and I realized that at the last meeting we heard that the fire chief sometimes directs the public works crew to go out. And I wasn't sure, when I look at it now, and I'm just looking for advice from the CAO, we've got now the various people who can, or as I read it, can commence snow removal would be the CAO, the public works supervisor, the lead hand, the RCMP, or the fire chief. That's a lot of people to manage that question. And I wonder if it might be better to have one person designated and the others speak to that person. And then a single person be the one who determines what happens. That's a question through the chair of the CAO.
Yeah, what I said at the last meeting was that often the fire chief relays information about what is going on with snow removal. It's not, as I understand it, that the fire chief was directing for snow removal to take place. That has always been the CAO, but I'll ask the CAO to comment.
Yeah, thanks to the chair. What typically happens is we gather the information either from the app or from the weather information, and then I do a canvas of information from fire chief and public works supervisor, and then make a determination, and then give the direction to the crew to either go out or not. And it becomes a little bit more tricky on weekends because obviously that's overtime. So we make those determinations collectively, and then I give the direction to the crew lead. Yeah,
Okay.
thanks. And I think, just not to be redundant, but in the case of emergencies, we're not talking about so much of a decision-making process. We kind of go command and control at that point, and then if the fire chief requires something, she just goes direct, gets things done. So,
Councillor Gray.
Thank you. That helps a lot. I think I'd misread this. So it's the fire chief and the RCMP make a request of the CAO and it goes from there. So it sounds like there's a single person, and that works for me. And I imagine it works for the CAO. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments? No? Okay. We'll take a motion that council adopt this policy. Did you already do this?
No, so moved.
No. Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next, we have reports for information. We have the Metchosin Arts and Cultural Center Association. This is their requirement of their Section 8 of their operating management agreement. They've got a report setting out their plans for the calendar year of 2026. Who's the council liaison? It's Councillor Shukin. Did you want to comment on this?
Yeah, no, the one thing I will just say is great work by MACCA at the Makers Market last week. And they were down a few members, including one who had a tree fall into her house and had to attend to that. But I think the market went well. It was cut short by one day, but generally went according to plan. So, and I think they're on schedule to do the market again, as well as Festivus as well. And it'll be great to work with them and help them out to get these done. So, yeah.
Okay, that's great. I'll take a motion to receive. Moved by Councillor Shukin, second by Councillor Donaldson. Any other comments? No. Thank you. To the Metchosin Arts and Cultural Center Association. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next, we have correspondence. This is correspondence regarding the Private Members Bill M216. We've received actually a lot of correspondence, and we, the mayors of the CRD, have been talking about this since about November 5th or so, many of them quite alarmed by the implications and the unintended or intended consequences of this. And the province heard a little bit, and they've extended their deadline for comment, and so they've requested comment before the January 6th is when they've extended their deadline to their. So you've read the correspondence? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I like the idea of us joining the chorus here in terms of the issues that others have raised. I see this as being a big problem for local government. And in our strategic plan, we're wanting to look at the issue of how people are paid and funded in terms of this sort of professional work that's being done on behalf of developers. And I've suggested that the developers fund it, but we pay the individual who do the reviews. And that was a notion of getting closer to the an unbiased approach, I suppose I'd say. In other words, he or she who pays the piper calls the tune. I think it's important that we have people that are in our employ or contract who look over what others have done. And boy, it comes out in spades in these articles. I'd like to see us follow up with a letter ourselves, laying out some of these points.
No, go ahead, Councillor Donaldson.
Yeah, I agree with what my colleague is saying here. We don't have to look too far to see what happens when disasters can happen in buildings that weren't appropriately gone through the appropriate channels, and either they've now sitting vacant, or other slopes that have given way to houses and, causing problems in subdivisions or whatever. There's a plethora of things that could happen. So I agree that, like the others that have written, we should also support with a letter from our particular district too.
Good idea. Councillor Shukin.
And thanks, I agree with what my colleagues are saying as well. And thanks to these municipalities who have dug a little deeper into this issue. I would agree with sending a letter. I would be happy to provide some ideas on what a letter might look like, if that would possible.
Okay.
So
Great. Yeah, I think a letter is really warranted by us. It certainly seems to weaken local government oversights on different proposals, and frankly, it's an unusual process to go through, because usually a private member's bill is not of the sitting government. It's usually the opposition that well, usually sometimes. So it's the process is all wrong in my opinion. It has a very unusual journey. And also, it seems to me there's a lack of a mandate, and I question, like, who is calling for this action? Certainly not any municipalities that I've talked to. And it definitely seems to reduce the oversight over development projects, and the lack of the local voice, in fact, bypasses local governments in this. And I think we should be alarmed by that, because it seems like we retain the responsibility. As Mayor Tobias mentioned, what problem are we trying to fix here? Is it affordable housing? Because this is not going to fix the affordable housing problem. I do support efficiencies in the system and making things run as smoothly as possible, but I don't think it should come at the expense of doing our due diligence and our local oversight over our own processes. And it does seem to shift the responsibility from the public sector, from us in the public, where we do things in open meetings that are transparent and accountable, to a less democratic private sector. And that worries me, that those decisions would be behind closed doors, with not a lot of sense that they could be successfully appealed. So I suspect that Metchosin won't be as affected if this goes through. We will be affected, but not as much as some of the larger urban municipalities. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't measure our opposition. So yeah, I'll definitely look to some help, Councillor Shuka, with writing a letter. And so could I have a motion to write a letter regarding opposition to Bill M216, please?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Great, thank you. And then moving.
Mayor Little, I might just add the comment you made, I think at the very beginning, the lack of consultation as well. It just fundamentally seems unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks very much for the motion.
Yeah, and also the point that this happened after UBCM. They could have done this in the summer, August, and brought it forward at UBCM, where they have everybody gathered. So a cynic might say, well, maybe that was just planned, right? I don't know. But the timing is very odd. Okay, let's move along to our bylaws. We have finally, after about 18 months of work, we have the Metchosin Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw 712-2025 and the Metchosin Land Use Amendment Bylaw number 713 2025. We have a report from our Deputy Corporate Officer to the Chief Administrative Officer, and is Ms. Johnson or somebody going to introduce this? Or Ms. Hanson? Or Mr. Payette? Or shall I introduce it?
So Council has given first and second reading to Bylaw 712 and Bylaw 713. The public hearing was held earlier this evening, where a few members of the public provided comments, and now it's in order for council to consider third reading and adoption of the bylaws.
Okay, so we're at the third reading. We gave first and second on November 24th. Councillor Donaldson, you have your microphone on.
Sure, I'd like to read out the motion.
If you could do them individually.
Sure. Okay, so I move that council give third reading to Metchosin Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw number 712, 2025.
This is moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Schuppen. Comments? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Go ahead, Councillor Donaldson.
And I move that Metchosin Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw number 712, 2025 be adopted.
That's moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Schuppen. Comment? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. That's unanimous. Go ahead.
And I move that council give third reading to Metchosin Land Use Amendment Bylaw number 713, 2025.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Schuppen. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And move that Metchosin Land Use Amendment Bylaw number 713, 2025 be adopted.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Gray. Comment? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Great. Thank you very much. Okay, with many, many thanks to our planner, Ms. Tara Johnson, for the enormous amount of work and other staff over the last 18 months. I think we have exemplary public engagement. And it was a little rocky in the beginning, and I'm pleased to say that we've got these finally adopted, as is mandated by the province. Okay, thank you, and thank you, Ms. Johnson. Okay, moving along to adjournment. So happy Christmas season to you all. Moved by Councillor Gray, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Thank you. See you in 2026.